when we create great content that people like, that people share, that people comment on, and that Facebook algorithm all of a sudden starts to see that, then more and more people are going to see what you have to say. And that's the key. So if you create good content 80% of the time that's educational, inspirational, funny, whatever it is that people want to interact with, then when you do that other 20% that's going to perhaps sell a membership or promote a small group training program, people are going to see it.
You're listening to episode 141 of the Fitness Business Podcast. We'd like to thank this month's premier podcast partner, MyZone, the wearable technology that enhances paid programming and drives customer engagement. Welcome to the Fitness Business Podcast. I'm your host Chantal, and this week our special guest is Marisa Hoff. Marisa is the General Manager of Stevenson Fitness, and since 2010 she's built their membership base to nearly 2,000 members with a high Net Promoter Score and high retention rates. In her role, Marisa has ensured that the club has been profitable since day one, with increasing ancillary revenues every single year. When I found out that Marisa was speaking at Club Industry on using Facebook to generate leads, I knew that we had to invite her on the show. So as you're going to hear today, we recorded this interview live in Chicago a little bit earlier this year. Make sure you listen out right to the end, because Marisa talks about a little Facebook hack that you can do to ensure that the people that like your page actually see your posts. Now, I didn't know that this function even existed, so make sure that you take a listen, because it might be something that is new for you as well. Before we transition into this week's show, I'd like to give a shout out to one of our podcast partners. MyZone is a wearable technology platform that leverages personal goal setting, gamification, and social platforms to motivate your members. To find out more, go to myzone.org. Marisa, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
So we are here at Club Industry at the moment, so it's lovely to be able to chat to you in person.
It's nice to see you, yes.
So Marisa, we're talking today about Facebook and using Facebook to generate leads.
Yep.
And I was reading, I think it was the blurb about your presentation that you're doing here at Club Industry, and it was saying that, or you were saying that Facebook should be the medium that gym owners should use. Now, there are obviously loads of different platforms out there.
Right.
Why Facebook?
Well, a couple reasons. First of all, Facebook has huge reach. We're talking about 2 billion people a month, 1 billion every day on Facebook, and Facebook isn't going anywhere. They're only growing and getting stronger. And so that's definitely the first place I would go. Yes, there's other ones like Instagram or Snapchat or other social media tools, but they're trendy and not established and not growing in the same way. And Facebook really hits all your demographics, whereas you couldn't say that about Snapchat or even Instagram. So Facebook is really the great way to go. And what we're hearing from people, there was a report from the future of social marketing that had respondents say what their top ROI was. 96% said Facebook.
Wow, 96%.
So social media people who do this for a living still say Facebook is the way to go.
And was that statistic across all different categories?
So they were looking at social media.
Yep.
And then there were people who just managed social media stuff, and Facebook was their number one. So not fitness business, but
across the board.
Yeah,
across
exactly.
the board. Okay, so perhaps you can talk us through some of the ways that, as a fitness business, we can generate leads using Facebook.
Okay. Overall, and that's such a great question, the most important thing is creating great content. So as all of us know, and we've heard over and over again, if I put a post on Facebook as a brand, as a business, 5% of my fans are going to see that organically. And so if you think about all the stuff that you're trying to get out to people, and you probably have great things to say, great offers, great specials, whatever it is, but if only 5% of your people are seeing it, that's dismal. So when we create great content that people like, that people share, that people comment on, and that Facebook algorithm all of a sudden starts to see that, then more and more people are going to see what you have to say. And that's the key. So if you create good content 80% of the time that's educational, inspirational, funny, whatever it is that people want to interact with, then when you do that other 20% that's going to perhaps sell a membership or promote a small group training program, people are going to see it. And that's key. First is you got to get people to see what you're posting. And the only way to do that organically is by creating great content. So that's really important. And then the other thing I'd say is starting to play a little bit with Facebook ads. So it's the only way that you're going to ensure that something gets seen, right? And because Facebook is so inexpensive, it's such a great way to get into the business of marketing through Facebook. So the brands that really want to be seen are paying to play, they call that. And so for us, even a small independent gym, we can very inexpensively start to play around with Facebook ads, boost posts, do that. And that's been really helpful to us in generating leads. And finally, specifically, I think that for gym owners, there's that little tab called offers that I think have been really helpful in generating leads, and you can pin those to the top. So if you have a post that you're really excited about, you can pin it to the top so that when people go to your page, it's the first thing they see. And I've heard of some businesses where that's all they're doing, and they're generating a ton of interest just from that offer that they pin to the top. And I personally love bribing my fans. So we host contests all the time. For instance, we just did one that was called #WhyStevenson. So we got our members to basically create ads for us. So they created tons of different posts because we said we would give them cool sunglasses or a cool hat. And we had lots of members that wrote on either Instagram, but mainly Facebook, about why they love Stevenson. And when you get users to generate content for you, it's incredible. As a matter of fact, just yesterday I was on Facebook, and Equinox just started one that was for personal training, and they were going to give away 12 personal training sessions to one person. But they're, in essence, for a very inexpensive price, getting people to generate leads for their personal training.
So in the example that you just gave where you did the #Stevenson, was it just a written comment that they were doing, or were they posting photos and videos as well?
So they would post photos and videos. We didn't tell them to do that, but organically that's what people were doing. We actually in the gym set up a cute little backdrop. So a lot of people came to the backdrop and did #WhyStevenson. Some people would put their kids on there and talk about it. Some people took videos during classes. And we didn't tell them that was necessary, but people just wanted to. So most of the time it was people generating pictures and videos that they themselves had done.
And so translating that from a content-rich environment on your Facebook page, so you've got the members interacting and loading and generating that content, how do you take the step from there to then lead generation? So are you putting an offer that relates back, or is it because you've got the attention of people then that you're then putting an offer in front of them?
Well, I think it's both. So one of our main goals in Facebook is building community and building trust. So when, let's say, Chantal, you're at your Stevenson Fitness and you put out this post about why Stevenson, you're letting all your friends know about how great we are. When I have 50 people doing that, they're spreading the word, brand awareness about how great we are, so that when we did post that offer, their friends saw, oh, this might be a great opportunity for us to come in. And we sold 3 times the number of memberships that week than we had all month because we combined the two. So it is, I think Gary Vee used that in his book. It was jab, 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 right hook. So great content, sell. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. So one of the concerns I think for a lot of business owners is that they generate a whole lot of content, but then perhaps some of the leads that come through aren't really well qualified or aren't necessarily genuinely interested in what they have to offer. Do you have any tips for us around ensuring that the leads that do come through to us are really interested in the services that we provide?
Right. So there's a couple things. One is, if you want to call it a lead, would be your like. So someone might like your page. I don't know if they're an engaged user or not. Maybe they like something funny that you wrote. But what truly we're doing is creating leads about people coming into the business to buy a membership or to buy personal training. So in building awareness and creating a brand that is trustworthy and that is community driven, when people do come into the facility to ask about membership, they know about us already. They've done all the research. They've read all the reviews on Facebook. They've seen their friends. So those people coming in the door are hot leads, not even like mediocre leads. They know that they're coming in to join. The likes on Facebook, that we can't tell. It's the engagement and the coming in that's going to be the hot lead for you.
Okay, so thinking about what you've done with Stevenson Fitness and the advice that you would give to people, do you want to take us through perhaps 3 steps that gym owners can do right now, if they're not already doing it, to start generating more leads from Facebook? Before we hear those 3 tips from Marisa, here's a message from one of our podcast partners. Are you interested in increasing your centre's income and your trainer's income from small group training? Tribe Team Training is the new way to get more members engaged in small group training and paying extra. Click the Tribe Team Training link in the show notes or go to tribeteamtraining.com.au/podcast for your free formula to see how much income you can make from small group training.
Okay, first and foremost, you do need to plan your content, and you make sure that it's strategic and you make sure that it's consistent. So regardless of whether you want to post once a day or twice a day, maybe at the beginning of the month you plan that content and you're strategic. So you say, 80% of what I'm going to do is going to create engagement, and then the other 20% is going to be that sales-driven sort of thing. So A, you plan. B, I highly encourage gym owners to start playing with Facebook ads or boosting posts. They're kind of 2 different ways to go about it, but just play with it. See different things that are working, and then you're going to use your insights. So that's the part where you look at either how your page is doing as a whole or how a specific post is doing as a whole. And you're going to use that information then to go back to the beginning, to plan, to do your Facebook ads, look at how it's going, and then go back to plan.
For someone who has, tried a little bit of Facebook advertising or started to become active on Facebook but isn't invested fully yet, are there any other takeaways that you would recommend in regards to getting active and including Facebook as a larger part of their overall marketing calendar?
Well, I think sometimes people feel like they don't know enough to do that, and there's so many resources out there to help. So for instance, even with Facebook, they have Blueprint for Facebook, which is an e-course that's free, and you can literally learn about all aspects from advertising, and they take you step by step. How do you create an ad? They have charts that say, if your goal is to get more page likes, then do this call to action. If your goal is to get people to your website, then use this call to action. And they're so helpful, and there's even a Facebook ads team that will help you. They'll reach out to you and set up a call with you, but as a starter, Blueprint for Facebook is great.
Excellent. Okay, well, Marisa, thank you very much for taking us
pleasure.
through all of those Facebook tips today. Hopefully it gives everyone a little bit of further information as to where they can get started or where they can move to as far as their Facebook advertising goes.
Absolutely.
And generating leads from Facebook. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Now, I realised that sounds like the end of the interview, but Marisa and I kept chatting and she started telling me about an example of a post that they did at Stevenson Fitness that had a great result for getting their followers to interact with their Facebook page. It was such a great example that she was telling me about that I had to get her to stop and repeat it so that I could record it all for you. So here it is. Marisa, you just mentioned that content generation is really important, but can you give us some specific examples of the type of post that we can do to really encourage interaction?
Absolutely. So one of the ones that we tried recently was we use actually canva.com, which is a great way to make really cool social media tiles.
We love Canva.
Isn't it great?
We love Canva.
So I made a really pretty post that said, tell us why you love small group training in the comments below, and we will choose one person at random to win 1 month of small group training. And that post got a ton of interaction, so lots of people commented and gave us reasons why they loved small group training. And then we followed up with the post that said, here's the winner, which again got tons of interactions. And now we're using those comments and we reuse them as posts with a picture of the member and her or his testimonial. So it's giving us not only engagement, but content for days to come.
Great example. Are there any others you can share with us?
I love featuring members. I know that Mark Miller's club's Merit, they do one that's called Fitness Matters. That's their hashtag. They even have shirts on it. And they'll ask different members to share why fitness matters, and they'll feature that member and write up their little story. Members love to see themselves. They share it. All their friends are excited to see them, and they comment. So that's another great tip that we've had.
That's a great one. Now, we were just having a chat and you taught me something on Facebook that I had no idea about. So I would love you to share that with all the listeners.
Yay, I'm so glad I taught you something new. So we talked about that 5% of posts that are seen by people. So as a brand, we're creating this content. But one way you can ensure that your fans or your people who like you always see your posts is by telling them to follow you first. So what that looks like is you tell them to go to your page, and in the tab right next to the liked button is something that says following. And there's a drop down little arrow, and the default is that they'll see you. They can unfollow you, or they can choose to say see first. And so we actually had a contest, because again, I'm not above bribing people. And I put this post up on our Facebook page, and I said, here's how you do it. That way you can always see the great things that we have to do and say at Stevenson Fitness. And for everyone who comments done, you're entered in to win a possible $100 Amazon gift card. And we had tons of people writing done, and now I don't have to worry about those people because they will always see my posts.
I absolutely love that.
Yay.
I feel like that's a secret little tip that we've just learned. And I'm going to be totally honest, I'm going to use that for the podcast
You
page.
should,
I'm going to
yes.
go and use that, and I would love to hear about other people that have done that for their fitness business as well. So thank you very much for that
Of
little
course,
insider
yes.
tip.
I'm so glad I could do that.
Get ready for this week's bonus segment, your extra injection of information, education, and inspiration to strengthen your fitness business.
I'm really excited to tell you that the Fitness Business Podcast Santa Sack is now open. The online virtual Santa Sack is chock full of discounts on products and services and offers from our wonderful podcast partners and suppliers from the fitness industry all across the world. You can go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/Santa Sack to see all of the great offers that are available. We are adding to it every single week, so make sure you continue to check it out. So one more time, that is fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/Santa Sack. Another big piece of news is that our next FBP family meetup is happening at URSA 2018 in San Diego. You are all invited to join us on Wednesday, March the 21st at 5:50 a.m. at the main entrance of the Marriott Marquis San Diego Marina. We're going to walk and we're going to chat for around 45 minutes, and then we come back to the Marriott by 6:50 a.m. To register for the meetup, and it's free by the way, just go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, and up the top of the homepage, you'll see there's a link there to the URSA FBP Family Meetup. Click on that link and register your details, and I cannot wait to meet lots of you there.
PreCore Quickfire 5.
This week's PreCore Quickfire 5 guest is Daniel Priestley, and if you're a regular listener of the show, or if you've seen me speak any time in the past 12 months, you'll know that Daniel is the author of a number of books, including the book that has had a huge impact on me personally, called Key Person of Influence. Here's the PreCore Quickfire 5 with Daniel Priestley. Daniel, it is an absolute honour to welcome you to the Fitness Business Podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm flattered.
Now, as I was just talking to you about, we start off each show with our PreCore Quickfire 5. Are you ready for question number 1?
I sure am.
Tell everyone, why do you do what you do?
I believe that entrepreneurial minds will solve the world's most meaningful problems, and I love to empower that.
And what's one ritual that helps you become better at what you do?
Writing content and writing books.
And what's an app or a system that you use to stay in control of your workload?
Evernote.
Ah, that's a popular answer. And
It's a great app.
It's a great app. I totally agree. And what's one book, podcast, or blog that you would recommend, and why?
I really feel that the book that changes your life the most is not one that you read, it's one that you write. And I really encourage people to, rather than consuming books, create a book, and rather than consuming too much content, create some content.
Wow, that is a really, really good piece of advice. And I've got to tell you, I haven't written a book yet. It is on my to-do list. But the book that changed my life was your book, Key Person of Influence, which is why we've got you on today. So thank you very, very much for sharing that. Now, last but not least, what topic are you going to focus on in your main interview next week?
Well, I better focus on how to become a key person of influence.
I totally agree. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today for the PreCore Quickfire 5. Thank you for joining me for another week of the Fitness Business Podcast. Before we finish off today, a quick reminder that all of the resources, links, and transcript for today's show can all be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Thank you to all of our partners for their support, and a big thank you to our foundation partner, Active Management. You can go over to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active for a free business development ebook. That is everything for this week. I will see you next week with our special guest, Daniel Priestley. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.